Hello everyone and welcome. This is Dawn. I want to thank you for joining me for another tutorial. Today I'm going to make a shaker card for you. I'll be using the Whimsy Stamps Slimline Heart background die and the Gnomes stamp set. So let's get started. I'm going to use a large heart die and I'm going to die cut it from a piece of white cardstock. Then I'm going to use my Misty stamping tool to stamp my gnome onto it. I'm going to use the boy gnome, the one that has the face on it. I place it where I want it to go in the middle of the heart, and then I stamp it with a black Copic friendly ink. Next, I take the gnome's little hand and I stamp that on the left side of the gnome. Then I cut out a little piece of paper and I put some removable tape onto the back of it. And then I cover the gnome's hand. I do this because I want the flower to look like it's inside his hand. And then I just put the flower where I want it to go, and then I just stamp it over the masking paper. When I'm done, I just peel off the masking paper and it looks like it's in the gnome's hand. I'm going to do some quick Copic coloring, nothing fancy here. I start out by using some C3 cool gray to outline the gnome's beard. Then I bring in some number 0 neutral gray and I color in the beard, blending it as I go. I color in the nose with E00 cotton pearl, and then I add a little R11 pale cherry to make it look a little pink, and then I just blend it all together. I color in his shoes and the hands with some E35. I used some G554 evergreen to color in his hat. I was looking for a really dark green and I didn't have it with my Copic marker, so I had to switch my marker, but it's an alcohol marker as well. I go over the black outline of the veins of the leaves with some G94, which is grayish olive, and then I color in the rest of the leaf with G24 willow green, and I just blend it all together as I go. I color the center of the flower with Y13 lemon yellow. Here I color the rest of the flower with R85 rose red, but you'll see later in the video I decided I didn't like the rose color and I wanted the flower to be darker and more reddish, so I'll show you how I fix that later in the video. Now that I'm done coloring, I'll just set that aside for later. Now I'm going to make the shaker part of the card. I die cut the Slimline Heart background die, which is one of my favorite Whimsy Stamps dies, by the way, and I die cut it from burgundy cardstock and I die cut one from white cardstock. I cut a piece of acetate to 8 1/8 by 3 1/8, and then I put some 1/8 inch score tape all around the edge of the burgundy background, and then I adhere the acetate onto the score tape, making sure it lines up properly. Then I put some score tape on top of the acetate and I adhere the white heart background to the score tape. I wanted some white to show behind the burgundy, so I adhered it off center and then I just trimmed off the excess white cardstock that was hanging off the edge of the red cardstock, and you can see how nice the white looks showing behind the burgundy. To make the shaker part of the card, I put foam tape all around the edge of the white heart border. The foam tape is what will give it height enough for the shaker bits to move all around. If you didn't want to add foam tape, you could die cut 3 more white backgrounds to give the card dimension that way also. I cut some really small pieces of foam tape to put randomly in the middle of the white background. This will keep some of the shaker bits from falling all the way to the bottom. Next, I fill in the shaker card with some silver hearts I had, and then I add some burgundy sequins as well. I take the release paper off of the foam tape and I put some glue on top of the foam tape. This helps so that I can move the cardstock around to get it lined up properly. I lay the piece of white cardstock that I cut to 8.5 by 7 and then I scored it at 3.5 and I put it over the shaker card, and then I move it around and make sure it's lined up properly. Okay, so this is where I put my heart with my gnome on the front of my shaker card, and I decided I wanted a darker looking heart, more red. So I colored right over the rose color with some R29 lipstick red, and you can't even tell it used to be pink, and this helped so that I didn't have to recolor the whole image. I adhere the heart to the front of the shaker card. Now I want to heat emboss my sentiment, so I rub a piece of black cardstock with my embossing powder bag, and then I stamp it with some Versamark ink. I put white embossing powder on it, and when my heat tool is good and hot, I heat emboss the sentiment. I trim the sentiment down to the size that I want it, and then I put foam tape on the back of it and adhere it to the front of the card. I kept all the heart cutouts from the background, and I adhere some small hearts to the gnome's hat, and I adhere a bigger heart near his hat, and I put some smaller hearts on the sentiment, and then I save all the rest of the hearts to use on future cards. And to finish off the card, I added some clear Wink of Stella to all the hearts and to the flower. And I don't know if you can see all the shine on the hearts in the flower, but it looks really nice. And that will complete my card for today. I want to thank you for joining me on the Whimsy Stamps YouTube channel. I hope you enjoyed all my little tips. I would love for you to leave a comment below and let me know what you think of the card. We would love for you to subscribe to the Whimsy Stamps YouTube channel and their other social media platforms so you don't miss out on any upcoming releases and great inspirational videos. Also, check out their website for all their new releases. Thanks and have yourself a wonderful day.